Business is life. Business is a culture. Business is a lifestyle. It's how we do things. It's how we live. Well, welcome to the Young Business Show with Jaguar Power, where it's all about young entrepreneurs, real talk, and one couch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode, in a society that fat shames, in a society that judges a lot, and with the rise of social media hate, ladies and gentlemen, I have one guest who wants to change that. Welcome to the show, Achieng Aphy.
Thank you
Please
very
tell
much.
us what you do.
Okay, I call myself a fashion entrepreneur, or let me say a fashionpreneur. So as a fashionpreneur, what we do is that we try to build networks, we try to change the face of the normal modeling society. By changing the face of normal modeling society, I mean is going after building the models more than building an agency. As you know, most agencies are after making money. They don't really mind what happens to the model, provided you bring in money, that's all. They don't care if you're going to build your career after that. And you know, with modeling, it's not a promised career. So if somebody is not going to be there and make sure that you as a model go further in your career, I don't think that is something anyone wants. So as for me, that is where I come in. I come in to get the promising, the talent, the raw talent. I go get them, especially the curvy models, where nobody wants to give them a chance.
And your company is called Amara
Yeah,
Inc.
yeah,
So what does
Amara
Amara Inc. do? If somebody asks, what do you do? What value do I get if I come in to work with Amara?
If you come to Amara Incorporated, what you get is that one, we provide for you a networking platform. By networking, that means we expose you to other models across the globe. And across the globe, I mean, as of current, we are working in South Africa and Nigeria. And with South Africa, we are working with Curvaceous
So how many models do you have, or how many agencies are you working with in Nigeria and South Africa?
Okay, with our South African partners, this is the 4th year running. But with the Kenyan one, this is the 1st year. This is when we're starting with the Kenyan ones. That is why we have Miss Curvaceous Kenya. Yeah, and Miss Curvaceous Kenya is running right now, and we have social media.
Is it the first of its kind?
Yeah, the first of its kind. Yeah, it's running on social media right now. They're getting voted for. After online voting, now we'll have the auditions where we
So the voting happens on social media.
Yeah, on
the
social
same
media.
Platform where there's so much hate
Exactly.
and fat shaming
Yes.
and everything. How do you pull that?
Because you see, the problem with when somebody tries to tell you something over and over, don't do this, when they actually see you doing it and prospering at it and people supporting you, there's actually an impact on them. They'll be like, why is it happening that way? They'd be interested to know what is really happening, and that is what you're trying to show them.
Back to the whole thing of why you started Amara Inc. I mean, there's this whole notion of if you really want to be successful at entrepreneurship, then you've got to have a purpose when you're starting and running the business. And in your profiling of your company and what you do, you talk so much about wanting to do something about how society views different body sizes. And you've chosen the one with women with curves. So where did that come from, or when did you get that purpose, and why, and what's the situation on ground?
Okay, so personally, I've worked as a plus-size model. I have worked with the Nairobian, for the modeling, and I've worked as a freelance model. That is, somebody just came up. He's called Latoya. He just came out from nowhere and said, I think you can do something on a magazine, and he gave me the work. But then afterwards, when I tried going outside myself, you'd go to a function, for example, you're supposed to usher in, and they don't have outfits for curvy models. They only have outfits for skinny models. And you ask them, why don't you have outfits for plus-size models? They'd be like, models are supposed to be this way. Then
Is it out of pure ignorance, or is it something that we haven't been able to grain in our society?
It's out of ignorance. As you see, 65% of women in Africa are curvy. I don't know why they 65%. I don't know why somebody would just assume we're going to be white and have skinny models only. So to me, it didn't go well with me. So I decided, okay, if somebody is not going to do something about this, I'm going to do something about it.
But you could start an NGO, then why start a business? Why use entrepreneurship as your vehicle for changing this perspective?
As much as you want to do something different in the society, you also want something for yourself. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I'm just going to be nice, non-profitable. No. Also, if you have something and you believe in it, you have to sell it.
Then one of the things that you should be able to do is to start a business with a purpose. What's your purpose?
Okay, my purpose came from the fact that I've worked as a curvy model myself, and I started as a curvy model because somebody found out that I could do something. I've worked with the Nairobian magazine, and when working the Nairobian, the guy just came and told me, "You are going to do this," and threw me there, and I did it. But then afterwards, when I started going out and starting to do modeling on myself, like a freelance model, it became really hard because when you go, let's say for an event like you want to usher in, you'd go there and they don't have outfits for curvy models. They only have outfits for skinny models. In Africa, 65% of the women are curvy. So you'd wonder, why would somebody really not consider the curvy models and just consider the skinny models only? Because they didn't go scouting. They just gave an open call. So definitely anyone would come in for the job. So I decided, okay, if people are going to ignore curvy models like this, good. I'm going to take up this opportunity and do something about it.
And all this, because you've achieved so much, how much do you need to start your whole Amara Inc.?
Okay.
And even the beauty pageants that you do?
Okay, as of now, I really try to cut down on the cost of everything that I do. So,
but what was the initial amount that you injected into the business?
Let me be honest. It's less 6,000.
6,000.
Yeah, 6,000.
Yet every young person lives in the whole fantasy of you need 100,000 or $1 million to start a business. Do you really need a big budget for you to actualize an idea into something concrete?
You don't need such a big amount of money. Let me take you back. For the first ever public thing I ever tried was the Mo University Fashion Week, and with Mo University Fashion Week, that was on zero budget. Zero budget. Nothing. Just
from the idea to just skyrocketing the whole thing.
Yes, that is because when you have the idea, you go and explain to someone, I want you to come in this capacity. I want us to work like this. If your idea is not vague, if your idea is trying to promote the other person too, because with the creative industry, we all need each other. An event person needs somebody who's going to supply, a supplier needs an event person. So if you're going to create a platform for both of them, it is very easy for you. You just need to put your idea well. Don't be vague. Have a purpose. Why, how, when, where. All those questions, just have them.
I'm intrigued by your business because I think it goes beyond the business lines. Because you're not talking so much about business itself in terms of making money, cash flow and everything. You're going beyond into changing something that has been a perspective for a long time. That no, we can't accept plus-sized models. No, all we want is skinny models. What are the challenges that you face with Amara? I mean, in the face of all this.
Okay. The challenges, let's start with, is getting sponsorship. That is for one. Because
that's for your beauty pageants.
Yeah, that is for the beauty pageants. Because in Kenya right now, let me say, Kenya is very business oriented. So they want something, if I'm going to come into my business, if it's a big company, let's say I need a media sponsor. If I'm going to need a media sponsor, they're going to need numbers from me. And in Kenya right now, this is the first, Miss Curvaceous is first happening this year. So our social media pages have around 1,700 followers. So for a big media company to come in, it's going to be a problem. They want big numbers. They want numbers like 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers, you see. So, and that is something you can't really change. You have to understand their part. So for you have to go down to the smaller media companies, and then the smaller media companies, they don't have that kind of audience. If I'm going to bring models there and going to shoot whatever they do every time, are they going to show that to? No one, because that is not the kind of audience that they have, you see. Yeah. And then secondly is getting the response from people. Most girls are still shy. It's either they are overly know about their curves, or they are totally scared of bringing their curves to
because of
media.
Society.
Because of the society. Because they're thinking, if my parents see me there, it's going to be a problem. Sorry. If my friends see me there, it's going to be another issue. Everyone thinks maybe you want to become a socialite because you're curvy. It's totally not about that. And then the shy ones are just shy. They're thinking, people will just think I'm fat. It's not about that. And getting the mentality out of girls, is quite a problem. Those are the problems that I have for now.
For now.
Yes.
Just a bit on that social media part, because you say you're trying to get followers, you're also doing the whole beauty contest on voting on social media.
Yeah.
How do you break the social media stereotypes?
Okay. You know.
Or what have you learned from that?
Okay, personally, when I first did a beauty pageant, I was exposed to online voting, and that really built my confidence because let me say I was on the social media shy people. Yes, I'm on social media. I quite have a following, but the voting brings close to, let me say, 10,000 people who view your photo and view what you have to say. So it takes a whole lot of confidence. It builds the model. If they see I am really building on this, and then you have the motivation for them, it builds them. And then secondly, to the people out there, if they see people are voting for the models and people are actually trying to accept them, it becomes a call for them. How comes? Why are they being voted for? Like, I thought curvy models are this way, or they're actually this way. They're not the way I used to think. You see? Yeah, so for me, I call that strategic branding, because strategic branding is trying to change a perspective and grow it into the perspective that you want it to come into.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, that really works.
In the midst of all this,
Yeah.
what gets you up every morning? What inspires? You know what? I still think Amara Inc. can do so much. So
Yeah.
let me wake up because of this and this. What inspires you to get out and go
Okay,
build your business?
What really makes me wake up every morning with all that motivation is the fact that I've always loved to put a smile on someone. And with models, it comes, you don't even have to struggle, because with models, being a creative, the biggest struggle that we have is being accepted. That is the biggest struggle, because this is something you're doing from the heart. This is something you're doing with all your might. If you just go out there and get a model, show them you're supposed to dress this way, you're supposed to pose this way. If you do your catwalks every day, you're going to achieve this amount. If you practice in front of the mirror every day, if I put you in front of a camera, you're going to talk well. It really motivates them, and then you see them growing. I've seen so many of my models grow and do better in many platforms of modeling, especially in Eldoret, because I come from Eldoret as of the moment. In Eldoret, I see my models going up and up every day, and that for me really encourages me. I do it over and over again.
Well, thank you so much for coming to your show
Thank you.
and to our show, and
Yes.
keep making people smile. We
Yeah.
love what you're doing, and as I always say, business is culture. Business is how we do things.
Yeah.
And Achieng here is trying to change something that has been a long perspective, a very long and wrong perspective, because it's actually wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't
it
say
is.
that you can't accept plus size models.
True.
And yes, entrepreneurship can be able to change perspectives. We can be able to change how we do our things and how we live. Well, thank you so much for coming to our show, and all the best with Miss Curvaceous.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, business is life. Business is culture. Business is how we do things. Thank you for watching. This is the Young Business Show with Jaguar Power.